so far we have learned that there is a structure, right? We learned that we begin with draft, we then adapt, I'll make it larger. Then we adapt the draft to the genre. We choose the words depending on the emotion we want to project or communicate, right? So, so that's just a reference here. So this is the generic model of all texts. We learned that. We learned that each text revolves around the problem, right? We open our mouth to solve or address that problem, always. So when analyzing a text, first identify problem, right? And then the rest of the elements. So that's a summary of our class 1. Now, after the break, I want you to help me here. I wrote here, well, this is the, remember how I said that each text begins with a draft? This is probably a draft. I'm not sure whether you can see it. So it's this here. That's the draft with which the uncle might have started his advertisement. So he might have started with I am, remember, I am an attractive person. That was the British girl. Here, the uncle might have started his draft. I am a well-settled uncle, and I invite matrimonial correspondence for my nephew. He might have put some more words, but he deleted them. You don't know. My nephew is 25, smart, blah, blah. I'm seeking a girl who is slim, fair, educated, from the South India. Oh, a girl who is slim, fair, educated, and from South India is invited to respond to this ad with full particulars. We honor your privacy and will return your photo. You can see that with full particulars, I put here in gray. That's probably why I had full particulars here in gray too. Look, we don't have to kill ourselves whether it should be gray or purple. It really doesn't matter. But I think I like the idea of the pink here, right? I mean, you can see that we are a little bit gray on the edges, meaning, you know, not certain always where the boundary is, but we try to navigate as well as we can. So there would have been a draft, then the uncle edited his draft to suit the genre, left a personal message about himself, and the rest was edited mainly for brevity, to make it shorter. Now, I want to ask you, because it's part of discourse analysis, what did I say? What did I say in the beginning of the class in the morning? In the first part of today, I said that discourse analysis is about tools. It's about your experiences, because they will impact on how you read it, and also your knowledge of the world, right? So these three elements. So the tools, the discourse analysis tools, only help you see things. They cannot replace you, right? So this is why some people may read texts differently, because they may bring different experiences into the text, and they can actually, and you can then have a discussion, compare, contrast. But as we are now, can we say something? Can you say something to me about this text before I teach you another tool of analysis that helps you see more things and therefore will help you synthesize text? So this one is a short text. It will be easier maybe to synthesize, but then you will have narratives and longer text to synthesize. So learning a method to synthesize is really good. So having one tool of analysis, which is structure and emotions, is really good, right? So that's one tool. I will teach you another tool that I invented based on evidence from neuroscience, and we'll see how it will work. But before I do this, I would love to hear from you. What else do you see in this text that you can tell me about? What else is there? So we got the structure. What can you tell me about the content of the text? The message, the content, what else do you see? So we've got the structure is broken a little bit for brevity, but what else can you tell me just as you are reading it? If you cannot say anything, just type nothing. If you can say something, I'll be waiting. So until you type nothing, I'm suspecting that you probably will communicate something. Can you still see the text?
I think it will be an arranged marriage.
Right. Yes. Arranged. Yeah. What else can you tell me?
I can see that in the perception of Indian people, marriage is too important so that parents or an older people in the family will have the right to choose the right partner. For example, in this advertisement, a well-settled uncle, it means that he has a lot of experience enough to choose a good girl for his nephew. And somehow I can understand that his nephew is quite inexperienced and he lets the right to choose his partner for his uncle.
Okay,
And
so
yes,
what does well settled mean?
I think settle means that that man had got married and he is having a very happy marriage life.
What else? So that's something to be proud of, right? It's something to be proud of. I managed to have a family, right? I'm well settled. What else? What does it communicate? Well, you said proud, family man. What else does it communicate? If you were poor, would you write about yourself, I'm well settled?
No, I won't.
Somehow it doesn't sort of come to, if I was poor in India and well, I wouldn't send an ad, but if I did, yeah, well, I think it also means well-to-do, right? It's not just we have a strong family. So what it does say, we have a strong family, right? We have family values. When an uncle says we have family values, what does it mean? It spells tradition, right? That's why he is inviting invitations or profiles of women on behalf of his son, because he's following tradition, right? Right? The British girl is not asking mommy to write for her. In fact, if she did, that would have been a strange advertisement, right? In Western culture, it's not, maybe if you are top aristocracy like Prince Charles, you get a marriage arranged, right? But if you are just a middle-class girl, it's not likely that you will ask your mother to find you a partner, no matter how settled your family is. So it's just not on, and if it happens, it's strange. However, in royal families, marriages can be arranged because it's not about marriage, it's about family. That's why in the past, when Prince Anne wanted to marry, was it Prince Anne? I think it was, or Margaret, well, one of those, I don't care, I don't follow it. But one of the sisters of Queen Elizabeth wanted to marry a divorced man. Queen Elizabeth didn't want it to happen. I don't know whether she said yes or no to it, but Prince Anne or Prince Margaret gave up on her lover because he was divorced, right? So the arrangement might happen when it comes to money, symbolic power, governing the global world. You know, let's not fool ourselves. We live in a feudal society where we are governed by lots of people who tell us that they have our welfare on their hearts. So the royals might have an arranged family. So very, very traditional families. Say in India, that's cultural, very traditional families might do that. But well settled might mean both. Not only that the uncle represents strong traditions because he's writing on behalf of nephew and describes himself this way, but they also are well-to-do family, right? What he offers to the girl is what? When the uncle says, I am, what does he say? A well-settled, I just have to strange description. A well-settled uncle, when he says those words, what is he offering the girl? What is he offering the girl?
That doesn't mean when he say he's a well settled uncle, doesn't mean he will offer a good family to the girl. Yep, the girl married. Yeah, his nephew. And this is also a traditional family, so everything is good to the girl.
Right. So they're offering her a good place, a good home, right? Stable, well-to-do, respecting tradition. But the tradition, I could be wrong here, but the tradition is more respected than I would like. Any other comments you would like to make before? I mean, if you don't make any more comments, I will probably help you before I show you another tool, because it's just, you know, I might just disclose it to you before we find it in any event. Okay, so anything else you see in this advertisement that I would like to hear about? So following tradition, good. A good family, respecting tradition. Yeah, so safety, there's a safety, right? A safe home. What else can you see there in this ad? If I change the view to chat, do you still see the ad or you just see the chat? What do you see on your screen now?
You see the PowerPoint mess, but we are considering.
Right, so you still see the PowerPoint, right? That's good. So anything else there in that ad that might catch your attention? Vietnam is very close to India, so maybe you will see something in that ad that is interesting. So guys, where are you looking to find something funny? All right, so where are you looking? What are you analyzing now? Let's chat. You don't have to find the answer. Just tell me where you are looking and where you're hoping to find an answer. Well, that's very interesting. Is the boy slim?
Yes, I think slim there, that word make me feel interesting.
Means what?
Make me feel interesting with that because why? Yeah, why cannot be fat?
Well,
But
or
yes,
maybe he doesn't want her fat, but is he slim?
yes,
No, she is to, the
yes,
girl is to be slim, right? But the
yes,
boy, is
yes.
he slim? Is the boy slim? Do you understand what I'm asking?
We find no information about the appearance of the boy, yet just slim. That means we talk about the girl, and I think that means this family cares so much about the appearance.
But they do not,
Right.
they do not disclose how the boy looks like.
Yeah.
So we have imbalance, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right. What so that's very good that you are that's where I wanted you to be. I wanted you to compare the boy and the girl descriptors. What else? I have to say to you guys that yeah, it's not easy. You have to know some context, and I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. So the girl has to be what? Educated. He's educated, right? So that's okay. That we have a balance there. The girl has to be slim. We don't know whether he is slim, so there is no balance. What else? The girl has to be what?
has to be fair.
And that means what?
That means that that family, the nephew family, won't accept the girl with color skin.
Right. Isn't that interesting? In some sense, it's racist. Now, I honestly, I'm not into the modern discourses, and I'm the last person to use the word racist, but it is racist. Honestly, this is the first time I think I called someone racist. It is racist, right? And so what do we know about India? Who are the people who are black in South India? Do you guys know any history? So if you want to be teachers, it doesn't, or even linguists, it really doesn't matter. I think what's important, it's not that I am smart. I just sit on YouTube and I watch a lot of videos that introduce the world to me. I haven't read a single book about India, not that I recall. But I've watched a lot of documentaries or a lot of basically videos, not a lot, but some, not a lot, some, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 about India. And because I'm very much interested, I've always been interested in anthropology and archaeology, always. So that makes it easier for me. As a teacher or as a linguist, I strongly advise you are not interested in one thing only, because that really doesn't help. And we will see it here. Whoever picked that fairness was a good call here today. So what happened? The people from the north of India are kind of connected, even genetically, to the white race, you know, the people from Europe. Because people from Europe didn't come from Europe, they came, some from Africa, some of them from Asia. So those areas, North India, I don't know, whatever is there. And they started to maintain caste society, which is, we are better than the other ones, right? So they were the educated, they were with the money, they were the merchants, they had the money, the people from the north. So then they had a migration in India of people from Africa, and they were black. Until today, I'm sure it is still today, the kind of slavery system is still maintained in India. I honestly would love to be corrected, so I'm not gonna you know, give my hand for what I'm saying, but basically people, black people from Africa who migrated to India were used as slaves. They were the lowest caste. And I guess that system continues. I'm not sure whether they are still slaves, but as you can see through this ad, that notion of uh, how do we call it, racialization of people, and seeing black people as undesirable, well, is there, it's in this ad. So so it's very interesting. And we have not a word here about the boy. We don't know whether he is black. So we've got some imbalance there in the ad, but certainly we have racial connotations there, right? Racist tones in it, where if you're black, darker skin or something, but educated and slim, we're not interested in you. So that's very interesting, and instantly made that ad a little bit more problematic in our emotions, right? So we're no longer liking the ad. We're now sort of cautious about this ad. In fact, we want to move on. All right, so I will teach you a little bit now, another tool of analysis that we might be using for different purposes, and definitely to summarize or to synthesize text. Synthesis is very important. so that we can actually retell. If you, for example, want to write a paper, an academic paper, you need to mention the literature that you have read. You might actually use your analytical skills in the form of synthesis. So you analyze for yourself using all these tools we're using now. And then when you talk about that paper, you talk in the form of synthesis, right? So this is what the paper was about. This is how the paper did that. This is what happened. This is the message communicated. So synthesis is a very good cognitive skill to learn, useful to you as an academic. But we're gonna have fun now to do that. So for 3 minutes, we will leave now our Indian men and our matrimonial things, and we now move to family. Painting, okay? This is the best way to introduce this particular method of analysis. Okay, so I don't know how I got that painting. I don't remember anything anymore. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories here. There's probably 8 or 9 in the model that I'm using, but this will do. Notice, please, that when we analyze a painting, it asks you about certain questions. So it asks you now to divide. You are dividing yourselves this painting into elements and tell us what you see. Normally, by the way, I have contrast here and grouping here, so I'll just leave it that way because I'm used to it now. All right. So what do you think what's the unique element? The unique element, there are many unique elements here. So what's the painting communicating? What is it communicating? You may think about this, what is it showing, but what is it communicating? Can you guess?
Looking at the picture, I think about it's a very happy family, but this is from the royal family with a lot of children.
Right. So I think what I wrote, something like well to do or proud Western family from, say, 19th century. I mean, nobody dresses like this today, right? Or do they? Okay. No, it doesn't look modern. It's not modern. It's not today, right? Right? Yes, no? You think that whether it's royal?
Totally agree.
Pardon me?
Yeah, from the 19th century.
Well, I wrote 19th century. It may not be, but I don't think it's modern. I don't think that Kate Middleton dresses in a dress like this. Today, a dress like this looks more like a sleeping gown. You know, pink with that ornamentation on the bottom, kind of like, yeah, it's not a very modern dress, right? I don't know about Vietnam, but it just doesn't look like a modern dress. But basically, a well-to-do family, proud family, right? It's a proud family. Why are they proud? I said proud. None of you said, but you said something successful or something royal, so successful. Why did I call it proud or successful? Well, you don't have to guess. You can just basically say, what do we see? What kinds of elements? What kind of groups? What can we distinguish here? It says foreground and background, right? Do we see foreground and background? Yes?
Yes.
One for all, right? So we will find why I said it's a proud, well-to-do family, because what's at the foreground? It's the family, right?
They are wearing very nice clothes.
So yeah, I might make these letters smaller, even if you can't see them, so I can fit them in. So with very nice clothes, foreground is a family with nice clothes, and at the background is what?
I can see
Is
A what?
a mansion, a large and impressive house.
Yes, a mansion with a garden, right? So it takes some space. It's a good word. I didn't think about the word mansion. That's very well said. So family. So basically, we've got foreground and background. At the foreground, we have the family, well dressed, right, and with lots of children. I think you said it, with lots of kids, and lots of kids means well-to-do, right? It's a proud family. It's got a lot of children. If you have a lot of children grown up, well, semi-grown up, that means you can feed them. So she's got one child on the lap. Do you see it? On her lap, on her knees. On her lap, there is one baby, and then other children. Okay. Right. Let's have a look at contrast. If we can find any contrast. Every time I do it anew. Like, I'm just wondering. We will compare it with what I have done myself. So I've got a picture in the next slide where I analyzed it myself, but let's do it together. So what contrasts do we see here?
I think that why the parents are quite serious, look quite serious. Their kids uh, are like having fun with each others.
Okay, so they're serious. So I will, I've just mentioned it here, but I don't think I was after that. But just because I was after something else, it doesn't mean. But I'm looking for contrasts. So the parents are serious parents. Kids are serious. So that's the first contrast. The parents are serious and the kids are not, right? The kids are having fun. One child has hands in the air, another one is hanging on to the mommy, another one is hanging to mommy and having an arm up. Another one is on a pony, little horsey. Then another one is talking to a little girl. They kind of semi-playing, right? So that's a nice contrast. I didn't see it before. All right, so what other contrast do we have? If we have any, but I think we do. And that's a very interesting thing, because sometimes we may not actually have contrasts in paintings or somewhere else. So here we do have contrast. So we have foreground and background. So that's the two groups, right? So elements are organized in two groups.
Um, I think about the man and the woman. I mean, it's mean the father and the mother. So the father just like to show his power. This
Yes.
means the mother tried to take care of a lot of children at the same time, and taking a
Right.
look at their faces, you can see it mean the gesture, the
Yes.
father tried to show that he is the breadwinner.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it means the mother just tried to look sad.
Towering father figure, towering father figure, right? He's standing. Everybody, so the mother is sitting, but he is standing. He's taking care, right? He's taking care of those people, right? The towering figure of father figure versus sitting mom, right? There's some other things happening here. Noticed some other, maybe more aesthetic, but maybe telling. Notice that what else is happening? Okay, so that's a towering father figure. I didn't know whether anyone will get it, but that's very good. He stands. Everybody else is either playing or sitting. He's very serious. He has that. Does he have a hand on her shoulder? I can't see really. It's either pointing. I know
I think it,
he's holding the hand of a child. Do you agree?
I think he put his hand behind her back.
Maybe, okay, or holding the child, well, maybe, yeah, behind her back, like in a caring gesture, right? In a caring gesture. So, towering figure, towering father figure, breadwinner, right? What you called it. Mom is looking after the family. What other contrasts do you see? Come on, friends. Surely you can tell the difference between black and white. Can you? Just gonna have a look at the chat. Could we have a clue? I just gave you to you. Can you see the difference between black and white? Oh, come on, friends. What other contrast do you see? I guess it's not easy when you are not, when it's the first time you are confronted with questions like this. But I swear to you, after you've done that analysis with me, you will never look at paintings or drawings the same way again. All right, so what else? We don't have much time left, so it'd be good if you guys kind of sped up your guesses.
I don't think it is correct or not, but I guess that the wife and the baby girls will wear the light color, while the husband and the boys will wear the darker colors.
That's it. So we have at the center, we have center and what do we call it? The edges, right? So at the center is mom, light. And I also was thinking around mom, it could be girls. I was wondering the same, whether it is all girls. It's kind of difficult. Mom, light. And let's presume that girls are light versus boys are on the edges and dark, right? Even if little boys may not be in the dark, although I don't know, the adult, the older males, which is the boy on the pony, the father, and the boy with the hands up. They dressed in dark, right? It's like growing into the role of seriousness, right? Which is why it's very handy when someone says that the parents are serious, especially father. Serious, he's smiling a little bit, right? But serious in the sense of, here is us. This is our brood, you know, what we created, our kids, our wealth. Our wealth, kids are our wealth. The house is our wealth. Our love is our wealth. So that's lovely. We have, the center is bright and the house is bright in the middle, but it gets darker on the edges, right? The father is dark, the boys are dark, but everyone in the center around mom, and probably they are girls, are dressed light. So that's how the light is working. Why is the mother light? Why do you think they painted the mother in white? Now,
I'm not
yeah,
sure about that, but I think that, yeah, because they want to show about the presence of the woman, yeah, at home. Yeah, she is usually at home, so it's meant trying to pan in white. Yeah, cannot move out.
right, some cleanliness about it, right? Some cleanliness. I wonder what I wrote when I was interpreting this picture before. We will have a look later on, but now as I'm analyzing with you, I'll have a look what someone wrote. They want to show the spiritual purity of women. I was wondering that too. Yes, something like that. So she's, oops, I lost something. The woman and the older girl take full responsibility for taking care of the other children. Yes. So the woman is the light of the house, right? She's a. So let me suggest. I'm gonna write it in the problem. Okay, around what problem is this picture? I don't know, but I'm just gonna write it here because this is not about contrast here. This is about just the light. So it might belong to the problem that the painting is solving. So the woman is the light of the house, the center, right? Beaming light, beaming light. So the house behind her is lit. Children around her are dressed in lighter clothes. She's practically white. White is purity. I agree with you. So the centrality, centrality of the woman, right? Of the woman, right? So no family is without a woman, right? No house is without a woman. So it's the value, right? It's the value of the family. There's no family without the woman, or at least in this picture, family is constructed around the woman, right? Woman reproduces, woman generates life. The man looks after her and has darker color because he's not in the house. He goes out. He gets dirty. He has to do the jobs. He has to walk, right? Whereas the woman is pure. She's central. Without her, there is no home. She's the light of the house. So what problem is this? I put that description in the problem. We'll just leave it there at the moment. So edit text, generic structure. So it's a painting, right? Generic structure means what are we looking at? This is a painting. just a painting. If you knew styles, you could actually describe what style it is. I don't know styles. So do we have symmetry here? And is it balanced? We've got women and men. We have boys and girls. We have family and home, because family belongs to a home. So in some sense, and we have home, which is appropriate for the big family, right? The home is a mansion. So in some sense, there is a balance, a big home to accommodate for a big family. So it'd be different if the painter wanted to show us a poor family. So it'd be like 3,000 children and a house from a matchbox, right? A sort of small, tiny thing made of a box. So it's nothing like that. We have a big family and we have a big mansion to accommodate. And we also have a mix between boys and girls. And definitely, yeah, I think that will do. Colors are also balanced out, right? So we have a center and then on the edges, the picture gets darker. We have a bit of a sky there, visible. And the sky is light too. It's interesting, right? I mean, you could think, oh, well, you just paint the sky, but the sky could have been dark. Sky is light, like the woman. So they are blessed. Never thought about that before. I'll make the painting smaller and we'll just make this here larger so we can see it. We've done a better job on this painting together than I've done myself, and you will see it. I quite like the idea, about the brightness, because when I looked at symmetry and balance, and look at this, how these categories help you see things, right? These categories are tools to help you see things. So symmetry and balance, I thought women and men, boys and girls, family and home, but we can't say that there is no sky. There is sky. The sky is light. The woman is light. So there's a symmetry between the center of the picture, which is the woman. She's the homemaker. The homemaker is light. Light is the color of heaven, right? Heaven. And sky is light. So it's heavenly. So they are blessed. It's a blessed family, right? Blessed family. Heaven. In fact, the picture looks heavenly, right? It looks heavenly. Done a lot here. Are we quite proud of ourselves? It's pretty good, hey? Let's have a look at the poor job I did myself when I was analyzing this text. I got the family. I got the father and wife and black and white, but I didn't get oh no, family. So we have to reverse it. So grouping, family at the foreground, family home at the back, woman-centered. So I just got 3 items in grouping here, foreground, background. Yeah, that's the same. But with contrast, when I analyzed myself, I only got father, dark, towering over his family. We did better. We got responsible parents, playful children, responsible father, breadwinner. Mom is kind of like, when she's sitting, that means she's in peace, right? She can rest. He's kind of like ready to go. She's in peace. She sits. She's got children on her lap. She can't just leap out. She can't just stand up and jump and run, right? So she's in peace. Mom light, girls light, boys dark, sky. All right, so what else did I get? Symmetry, woman is centered. We did this, we got the symmetry better. Here I got problem solved. I wrote here, but success was how was the success communicated? The respective roles of the family members behind the success. So let's have a look at what I have here. The woman is the light of the house, the center, beaming light. Right. So success is so is it communicating success? It's communicating blessings. It's communicating blessings. Blessings. Right? Lightness. She's the center. Purity. Yeah, so basically, in my view, as I see it, the problem around which the painting is painted is to illustrate that this is a blessed family, right? A blessed family. That's why we have lightness, but every light needs a bit of dark, because you cannot just flourish without work. You cannot be playful without work, right? So you've got the darkness on the edges. The darkness of the edges generates the blessings. So if you work and you are a bit serious, what you generate and the core, you generate a core, the warmth that can be playful, can beam light, right? So I think that the problem to solve in this painting is blessings, to show a blessed family. We did well, I have to say. Now, my question is, do you think we can apply those categories of the painting into the Indian advertisement? Yes, no. Why do you think yes? Why? We're looking now for principle, for the principle. What is a painting?
In my opinion, I don't think that we can apply to the Indian because when it's mean the cultures of the Indian is very different from the cultures from the Western. And also it's mean about the period of time that we mentioned. I think it's also different.
Good point to make, right? So when you are thinking, you've got to hold these two views and now try to look for another way to answer the question, right? So, and that's why we're looking at the higher level of analysis to see, not to see whether we can apply, but to see whether the principle allows us to apply, right? So we don't know whether we can or not, We don't even know whether it will be any good. We can try for the fun of it. But is the principle saying we should be able to, right? So in order to identify, so I'm teaching you research. I'm teaching you how to be innovative. What you do in order to see things nobody else has seen before. I'm not saying that all of you will be doctoral students, and I'm not saying, but even if you are a teacher, you need to have some processes that give you confidence. Yes, this was creative. Yes, this was different. That was critical, right? So you need to have some processes. So now we have a question. We've just analyzed the painting. We're asking ourselves, can we use those categories of grouping, contrast, whatever was there? Can we use them to the matrimonial genre or matrimonial text, matrimonial ads? Can we analyze matrimonial ads with those categories, right? Can we use these categories of painting when analyzing matrimonial ads? So in order to ask ourselves this, we have to say, okay, so what is a painting? What does a painting do? Right? If it worked for the painting, we don't know if it will work for a matrimonial ad. So we have to ask ourselves, why did it work with a painting? What is a painting?
Mm, I don't think that we can try to use the categories of painting for analyzing the ad, because you can say for the ad we need to look at the words and try to understand the word first. But for the painting, we just see we just see anything only, and you can say it's meant for the
So one
uh
has words and the other one has visuals.
yeah, that's right.
Okay, but we still haven't defined what a painting is.
In my opinion, painting is a visual illustration that the painter tried to draw about the society, or maybe it's mean the real
Just wait,
life.
just wait. I'm so the painting are visuals
Uh,
created. What did you say? Created for what? To
uh, to talk about, to share, or to illustrate,
communicate
yeah, the society.
a message. Like this is a blessed family, right? This is a blessed family. If painting communicates a message, text, words, written text also communicate a message, right? Painting, like a written text, is also a text that is communicated. So think of a poster. When you have a poster, the poster, say, for example, don't bully, right? I just don't, because of sharing difficulties with teams. I'll have to click here, go there, and find the slide. I don't want to do it. I'm sure you have seen posters like don't smoke here, or don't bully, or I don't know, posters or street signs communicate a message, right? Street signs, posters, they all communicate a message. Sorry for misspellings. Right? They communicate a message, as do paintings. In fact, when we were a bit older, like 100,000 years old, 100,000 years old, and then definitely 30,000 years old, we used to use paintings, you know, in caves, the drawings in caves, to communicate our relationship to the external world. To communicate our relationship with the external world. In fact, before we had alphabet, we used to use icons or maybe even pictures that, you know, resembled more the material world than letters. Letters is just an evolution. It took maybe thousands of years to form them. It was a change in technology. So it might have not used computers, but the technology of signing changed from drawings or paintings in caves, then to smaller pictures, then whatever these characters were called in Egypt, hieroglyphs. Then we had in Sumerian tribes, we had these other things until we got to alphabet. So alphabet took a long way, but the function of alphabet was no different in Greece 2,500 years ago than it was when people were doing cave drawings, right? 25,000 years ago, 30,000 years ago. So it was to communicate. So whether we paint a painting or create a poster, don't smoke, don't bully, or write, they are just different characters that we use or different technologies to communicate, right? So whether painting, poster, or advertisement, they are all texts. That's why we can analyze them, right? So we can analyze them because they are all texts. So yes, we can say that painting is a visual and text has words, but those words go 35,000 years ago were visuals, right? They were back then visuals. So it's just that we didn't have alphabet back then, so we just used the visuals. So the function is the same, but the technology got diversified. And now we can do painting, we can do drawing, we can do posters, we can do films, we can use letters, right? So we have, and that's why we have this multimodal communication systems. We have multimodal communication systems. We can, music, we can tap into different modalities of our perception, songs, colors, figures, shapes, letters. We can tap into our different modalities of perception with different technologies and produce texts in different ways. We can still use the same system of analysis, the same categories. not necessarily these categories. I think that this is something for us to test. If we use the categories, if we take the categories we used for painting, will they be just as helpful when we analyze a written text? Theoretically, it should be yes, because painting is a text and an advertisement is a text. So do we want to try? I have to say this is the best. I'm going to save this analysis. This is the best analysis I've ever done that we've done today. I might not push it. We don't have much time, so we might just go into this Indian advertisement first and have a look at it. It's a little bit a shortcut because I've done that, but you might correct me. So what is the ad communicating? So typically when you look for, let's have a look at the girls' advertisement. So that was that. Family, was it communicating? Blessings, right? Blessings. So what problem was it solving? To reflect that the family is a blessing. So what problem is... Okay, so let's start. Unique element. We had here unique element was, well, it was just a well-to-do, proud Western family. So that's what we were seeing, right? What are we seeing here? It's a search for a suitable person to marry an uncle's nephew. So it's basically an ad on behalf of someone else. That's what we're seeing, right? It's an ad on behalf of someone else. I think that's the unique element. It's a matrimonial ad written on behalf of someone else. Are we all agreeing with that? What is it communicating? It's an ad, it's communicating a matrimonial ad, written on behalf. So I removed my initial thoughts, which were good. But basically, what is it communicating? It's a matrimonial ad written on behalf of someone else. That's what it is. So when we did the analysis, we had the foreground and the background with groupings. Here we have what? What do we have? I wrote status here. Status. We have uncle. We have three entities, right? We have three entities. We have three entities. Traditional family plus I wrote this on the basis that I actually understood the addition to the family, on the basis that I understood the advertisement. But before we say, maybe that's why I sometimes start with contrast before I go to grouping. Well, what is being contrasted here? What are the things that man is seeing as that uncle is constructing as attractive? And I think that I call them status insignia. So the family is well-to-do, right? So he says he's well settled, which means the family, it's a well-to-do family. It's a well-to-do family with a, sorry for that, young, smart, and educated in business, because MBA is Masters in Business Administration. So basically, we, on the one hand, so what the uncle is projecting as status insignia: money, tradition, and the boy who has all you need if you're Indian: an American visa, masters in business, which may guarantee a good job for the boy. He's still young and he's smart. He finished school. He probably finished his school in America. So he has all the insignia of power. Good enough, middle class power. So he doesn't say that he's connected to royal family, but the family is full of tradition, follows traditional ways of looking for a wife, which is through arranged marriage, right? So we have all these status insignia, which is we well off, we follow tradition, and we raised a boy that has all these amazing qualities. Now notice, nothing personal about the boy, right? There's nothing personal about the boy. We don't really know much about him. I'm trying to make it visible for you as much as I can. Okay, so I called the girl, even though I'm not directly criticizing the concept of arranged marriage. I think the fact that we know nothing about the boy's appearance, which is what we decided before, we don't even know whether he's fair or black. I suspect that the family is so traditional that it wouldn't even occur to them to say that he's fair, because obviously we are not black, right? It is so much undercurrent happening here. So both the boy is depersonalized and the girl is objectified. Just be thin, don't overeat, be white. Hopefully you did something with your future, like you got yourself educated. And you're from the South because we have connections with the South. So, and that's why in grouping, I just, I don't think it belongs to grouping. Traditional family and, yeah, addition. I think if I want marrying into family, yes, I think the problem that the guy is trying to solve is to find an addition to the family, right? So that she can marry into the family with all these amazing status insignia. She's not really marrying the boy. There's nothing about the boy here. It's so controlled at this very moment. So that's what the ad is saying. I'm not saying that that's exactly what will happen and that the family will not actually consider personalization of sorts. But if there was to be some personalized, anyway, we're analyzing the text at this very moment. So basically the whole ad is about tradition and power insignia. status insignia, right? And the girl is marrying into the tradition. She's marrying into the family. So the problem that the advertisement is trying to solve is to identify the features of the object that the boy, who also is an object of the family, he's owned by the family, right? So the girl will be owned by the family. The boy is already owned by family, has no personality. He just has all these features, you know, and they will strengthen, be an additional, they both will continue the tradition of the family. Symmetry and balance, I think I wrote here, remember how we had symmetry and balance about the ad here? We had woman, men, boys and girls, family, home. What else? Symmetry and balance. Woman equals light, right? Men and boys equal what? Seriousness, right? Seriousness. So more, I'm not gonna write it. Okay, seriousness, because that's what our analysis showed. When combined, when combined, you have this family core, the family fire at the core. Here, symmetry and balance. I mean, we just can't find anything personal, neither about the boy or the girl. So basically, both are just objects. And what we're looking at is an ad that tries to, what's the problem? Yeah, it tries to find an appropriate addition to the family. It's not about marriage as such, as well, it's about marriage, but marrying into family, continuing the tradition. It's about an addition to the family, right? And that's how marriage is constructed here. Maybe in real life that will actually, change. But at this very moment, that's what it looks like. So even though the ad contrasts the boy and a girl in the sense that boy is obviously perfect, right? Boy is obviously perfect, and the girl needs to be perfect. So the boy is perfect. That's why we don't have to say that he's slim and fair. That's just given. He's perfect. We are perfect. The family is perfect. That's what he says. We are perfect. Now we just need a perfection to come to our family. So, so even though in some way you could say that the boy is presented differently than a girl, nonetheless, really, neither he's personalized nor she's personalized. So we couldn't even draw them other than just in generic terms, is just like signs on the toilet, both with the white face. That's all. Right? We've learned nothing about the boy. We've learned nothing about the girl. We just learned about the family. We learned about the family. So the ad by the British girl was personalized, said a lot about her, said a lot about the boy she wanted, said a lot about her, lifestyle and expectations and so on. Said she was even friendly. She said, "Oh, if you send me your photo, I'll respond to everyone." This is not the case here, although if someone sends a photo, clearly they will respond by resending the photo, but it would be like, thank you for. So in a sense, yes, they will be returning, but the way it is worded, it's so formal, then you can think to yourselves, if you were to write, to respond to this ad, full particulars with returnable photo, do you feel tense? Is it worded in such a way to increase formality, the feeling of formality, and therefore tradition, therefore really nothing to smile about? Nervousness. Oh my God, will they like me? It's kind of the feeling I have. Yeah. So I will leave it today, but I will still try to confuse you a little bit. Why? Because when we expose ourselves to different texts or to different genres, different, what happens, we they create an opportunity for us to see whether we can work with these tools, whether these tools help us in breaking down things. So I'll just leave it today, and we will work with we will work with this model of analysis, and again with emotional structure of text. We will just do that tomorrow. But until tomorrow, I would like you to sort of think for yourselves, whether in groups or by yourselves, or with your brother in America. If you were to apply, I'll duplicate. If you were to apply our analysis, so just do this, remove that. Let's go to our pictures. Oh, look at that. Nothing happened. Anyway, our categories from the painting. Is this? Where were we? Here, right? So you know what I can do to make it easier? Life is so hard. Can't always copy everything, right? So we copy all that. We will go to this slide here with our beautiful analysis. We will duplicate it. Now we will remove this text, and you can have a look. So basically this ad, these two posters, you don't have to type. You don't have to be very thorough. Okay, that's what I mean. You don't have to be very thorough. But briefly here, using the analysis that we did here, and I will include into the assessment files our analysis of the family, so you can compare to help you. Can you analyze these two ads very briefly, right? Don't spend more than 10 minutes on it. If you can't do it, say this is too hard. If you can do it, say that's easy. If you can see whether these categories help you somehow analyze these pictures, okay? So we've analyzed this one already, and I think we've analyzed a little bit this one, right? If you remember. But anyway, see if you can work with the, they are called aesthetic categories of aesthetic experience, by the way. I didn't actually create them. They were created by an American neuroscientist of Indian, actually, origin, Professor Ramachandran. So he's very, very famous. And he identified that in our brain, we have those categories of aesthetic experience. And he's identified them, he named them, he used them in his analysis of paintings and of statues of art, basically. And since art is a means of communication, I thought we can use those categories for text analysis. So these are the categories of aesthetic experience, see if you can apply them to these pictures, to these ads, and what you can tell me tomorrow about them. Honestly, do not spend more than 10 minutes on this. Just we will talk about it in class. So unless you have some questions, we might end for today. I'll wait a few minutes for your questions. Do you think you learned something today? I mean, it might not still be the whole picture, but do you feel that this is our second class and you learned something today, or not? Okay, so as you can see, this is not a big essay writing. This is just a little one slide that you can actually see whether you can actually analyze or not. As I said, no more than 10 minutes. Just dump it if it is too difficult, and we will work on it tomorrow. And then we take our class to the next stage, whereby we will have all our tools integrated. And this will allow us now to work with other texts, narrative, academic writing, academic abstracts, and so on. We will see how to analyze them so that to improve your writing and your reading of texts written by other people. Okay, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time, and I look forward to our class. I thank you so much for your beautiful engagement, really nice. And most of all, selfishly, I thank you for this helpful analysis of that painting. As you could see, I analyzed it quite poorly. With you, we have so much more in that analysis. So my students in Australia will benefit from this analysis, and I obviously will tell them it was done with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ania.
Thank you.